Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Brought to you by Photography is an Art, Harvey Brandman, Master Photographer, located at 1307 North San Fernando Boulevard, Burbank, California. Attorney Ron Irwin's book, Haiku, Style, Passion, Heart. Author Larry Buford's book, To the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm Agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Training School and Actors Space. Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest today is a veteran television producer and writer. He's a two-time Emmy nominee and a Writers Guild of America winner. Greetings, Mark. Greetings.
Greetings, Ron. How are you?
I've thoroughly enjoyed your work over the years, sir. Please don't get me started with Scandal. That was my show. Oh, you are one hell of a writer. Where and when did you blossom as a writer?
Well, actually, it's funny. I was an economics major back in college. So I always thought I wanted to sort of maybe do journalism. But I sort of got the idea of coming out to Hollywood in the mid 80s. So I came out here in 1984 and, did what everybody else, tries to do, wants to be a writer out here. I wrote a bunch of very bad scripts. And finally, I got a little better at it. And then my first job was on a sitcom called These Friends of Mine with Ellen DeGeneres, which then later became Ellen. And I did sitcoms for about 10 years, and then decided that I was actually really sort of enjoying watching dramas more on television. And so then I made the switch over to dramas and wrote on Charmed for a couple of years, and then managed to make my way to Grey's Anatomy. I was on that show for about 7 years.
7 years. Yes.
Yeah, and then Scandal subsequently.
When you look at your resume, outstanding. 1995, you did a TV show called Days World. That was your first IMDb as a writer.
Right.
3 episodes.
Well, and actually, just before that, I actually had been on These Friends of Mine. So that's sort of what started it. And then Days Row was my second job, Harry Anderson was the lead of that show. It was based on the columns of Dave Barry.
Gotcha.
But it was just, it's great when you're, of course, getting your first job is a great thing to, in Hollywood and very exciting. But then it's how do you keep it going? And you're always having to sort of, change with the times or keep abreast of, what's current and what's good. So in terms of, so I sort of changed mid-course after doing sitcoms for a number of years to go to drama. The break I got actually was the last play I wrote before Our Man in Santiago. I wrote it almost 30 years ago, and it was called A Company Man. And it was put on at Actors Alley Theater when I'd already been out here like 8 years. So, it's a little bit of, you have to have definitely, you have to persevere. Let's put it that way.
That way, for sure. Speaking of which, you have a talent for writing. Would you please give some advice because we get people who watch the show, they're writers, they're wannabes. What advice would you give them to write?
That's a good question. I would say, I think there's a couple of things, 3 things I would say. First of all, and I'm like, well, do you want me to tell you the truth or do you want me to tell you it's great? And inevitably they say, tell me the truth. And then when I tell them the truth, they don't always like to hear it. So a thick skin, I think, could even, bring you further than talent in a way. Perseverance obviously helps, but the final thing is a learning curve. In other words, what are you doing? What are you not doing that other people who are getting paid to write are doing in terms of your storytelling or your character development or any of the things that make an interesting script.
Well, also another point, writer's bland.
You just have to train yourself to sit, at a computer. because I think people will look for any kind of distraction. I still look for distractions, you know. My cell phone is only 2 feet away from me right now as we speak. But so the main thing is, yeah. And what do you want to say? You know, it's sort of like, and maybe that starts out with just, you know, 2 pages of or 2 or 3 pages of just 2 people talking to each other. But what do you want to say about the world that we live in? And it can be done on a humorous level or a dramatic level or a combination of the two, but you've gone through. But just, you can use that, you can bring it to bear, yes. But it doesn't necessarily just have to be about that. It's more like your view of the world.
The way I solve my writer's block problem is I'm sitting there and I can't think of anything. I immediately reach in my back pocket for my wallet, look at it, and then start writing immediately.
Oh, really?
That's my style. Everybody's got that style. As long as you get it going.
Yeah, no, exactly.
1996, you had another job. It was called The Naked Truth. This was your first producer credit.
Right. Yeah, that was, I've been, at that point, I've been in the business for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And The Naked Truth was with Taya Leone. And it was just, again, that was sort of part of my my sitcom days. And it's great. You know, here's the thing. What I really like about sort of writing in television is that you're around a bunch of other writers. And they're generally smart, they're irreverent, and they're funny. And so, you know, the reason I'm 63 and the reason I sort of keep doing this is—
You don't look it.
I appreciate that. Well, yeah, it's maybe that's what's helped me keep my career going. But that's, you know, what the writer's room sort of hopefully is all about.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, just so you know, Mark has received 13 writer credits and 20 producer credits. He's worked very hard for that. When you put it all together, he had 11 dual credits, that's writer and producer of the same show, and 6 single credits where he is the writer or the producer of a program. Outstanding work. Outstanding.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, wow. I noticed that you like to do TV series. What is that? Why is that?
Well, I think it's fun because occasionally write a pilot. They just, you know, I've written them, they haven't been shot.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I did for a little while. We had, I had a writing partner. He and I wrote a pilot together called The Cell. His name was Mark Legan. And it was just him and I meeting together at lunch one day. And we came up with this idea of terrorists who come to America, but they end up loving America. So they don't really want to blow it up. So it became sort of a pilot that we wrote, and it got us a lot of meetings. It got us an article in the New York Times. It was very nice. They call it the funniest unproduced script in Hollywood. So I think that just going back to, you know, sort of TV and why I want to do it, first of all, it's a job you show up to every day, which I kind of like. Yeah. I like the regularity of that, and you know, you have to be somewhere. You don't just have to be in your office. And then, you know, that you're 24 episodes a season. And that's, you know, that's a lot of writing that has to be done. But I don't know, I've always thought it is more fun than not. Let's put it that way.
Have you ever done these soap operas anyway?
I never did soap operas. I never did daily soap operas. I guess, you know, Grey's or Scandal could be considered sort of evening soap operas if you wanted to say as much. But no, I never did the daily soap operas.
Okay. What's the biggest challenge that you've ever had?
Boy, I would say just, that's a good question. Essentially trying to keep, you know, the career going in terms of, you know, in terms of like, you know, getting jobs. There were a couple of years there when I wasn't working. And so I remember talking to a friend of mine, and I said, you know, and this was maybe, I've been in the business maybe 10 or 12 years. And I said, you know, I may not work again.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, that might be the case, but you're always going to write. Right. And I just remember those words. He said it to me on a golf course, actually, because we were both not working at the time. But I said, that's a good point. And if I end up, not making a living at this, well, then I'll make a living somehow else or somewhere else. And then I'll still be writing. So I don't know. I think those were a couple of challenging, tough years. It was in the early 2000s.
Actually, your career, 1998 to 1999, you did the show Working as a writer and a producer, 2005 to 2012, 7 years with Shonda Rhimes on her program, Grey's Anatomy.
Yes. Yeah, that was,
wow.
That was so much fun. And obviously, I was lucky enough to work alongside Shonda actually for like 13 years. First on Grey's, then Scandal, and then on another show called Still Star-Crossed, which was a sort of a show that was 9 episodes and out. So they're not always hits. But it was great working along Shonda. She's wonderfully talented and I learned a lot from Shonda Rhimes, let's put it that way, in terms of like character development and what makes a story interesting, what makes characters interesting. She was very big on having characters who had tremendous flaws. And I think that's why people, sort of hooked onto the show, onto Grey's, and for that matter, onto Scandal. And of course, Grey's Anatomy now is going into what is 16th year or something incredible, or 17th year. And that's because I think of the strength of the characters. And I remember, it's funny, I remember the first season I was on the show, there was a billboard that was put up for Grey's Anatomy around town, and it showed like 11 of the doctors. And I remember looking at that billboard and thinking, each of those doctors has a distinct personality. And that's, all credit to Shonda Rhimes, who created Grey's Anatomy. And then, the question is, once you're hired on a show, can you sort of adapt the voice of the show yourself? Because, Shonda Rhimes obviously can't write all the episodes. She needs help from a writing staff of anywhere from 9 to 12 people. But the idea then is to sort of try to get her voice as close as you can.
Excellent. How much longer do you think Grey's is going to last?
It's so funny because I used to have the actors when I was there in the first, I came on the second season. I was there through the 8th season before I went to Scandal. And a couple of the actors would always come up to me. This is like in the 2nd or 3rd season of the show. And they'd say, so what do you think? You think we got another season in us? And I'd go, I think we got another season in us. Yeah. But I was always thinking, maybe the show will go, 8 or 9 seasons, maybe 10 seasons. I didn't think it would go this long. I think it sort of depends a little bit on Ellen Pompeo, the star of the show. It might go to, I know Shonda's very competitive. I know she'd love to sort of have it be the longest running show ever to be in Hollywood, which means sort of eclipsing maybe one of the LA Law shows or something. So maybe 21 or 22 years.
You mentioned a few moments ago that you had done a play. You were scheduled, as you know, a couple of weeks ago to open up a play that you wrote called Our Man in Santiago. Mm-hmm. This was the world premiere. And then we all got hit with COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And you had to close even before you opened. How did you end up coping with this situation? You had to close something and all that work you had done.
Well, it's interesting. It was tough. And I tell you who I really felt for. I felt for the actors, because the actors had, given over like 4 to 5 months of their time, learning the play and rehearsing the play. And they were great. They really brought it to life in a great way, and it was under the direction of Charlie Mount, who's been a longtime member of Theater West. And boy, did they nailed it. And so we actually, this was about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. The play was supposed to debut, March 12th. Anyway, we actually did do a couple of performances just for family and friends. So, and we just closed it to the public, and then we suspended the play. And I thought maybe 30 people would show up to it, per night. And we ended up getting more like 70, 75 people each of the nights. And this was when, at that point, I think the governor had said that you can't have gatherings of more than 250 people. So but then even with that, we decided that it was no good. We'd have to we'd have to sort of suspend the play indefinitely.
Gotcha. I don't need to tell you this, but canceled plays across the nation will cost billions. It hit a lot of people. Definitely did.
Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable what it's done in terms of, I've been on this show, Good Girls, and we had to shut down production 3 weeks ago. We were shooting our 13th episode of 16 episodes, and now we're shut down for the season. And I think we're hoping to get a fourth season, but obviously we have no idea when that'll happen.
Right. Mark, what are the actors doing? Are they getting SAG money, SAG-AFTRA money, equity money for unemployment?
I think I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I do know that LA, if you're in the middle of a play and they shut it down, I think LA, some organization in LA was going to try to help out the actors a little bit with that kind of with some money.
Is there? I know there's insurance for certain factors in case fire and things like that. But right. Is there insurance for events like this?
There is. I mean, I think there's insurance like in the TV industry, but for like for a theater production, this is non-equity. At Theater West, there's no insurance. No.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
To see Broadway go dark, I know that hurt a lot of people.
I think it's hurt a lot of people, and it's they were also going to do, as you probably know, the production of Hamilton was going to be done here at the Pantages, yes. And that shut down the same week that my play shut down. I guess Lin-Manuel Miranda and I are in the same boat in that instance.
You got plans in mind to open her up again in a certain time?
We do. I think the play got a very good reception the 2 nights that it was on, and members of the board at Theater West have said they definitely want to, remount the play, if and when the time comes. We've got the set still. Nothing has happened with the set because nobody goes to the theater right now. Because Theater West is sort of a theater where they do a lot of workshops and everything, but even those now we're just doing via Zoom. So at some point, it will be up and running again, I presume.
What was your immediate reaction to this whole situation?
My immediate reaction was I just felt for any and everybody who's who are in financial circumstances who are looking to try to pay their rent every month. Right. I mean, it's pretty brutal for people. So at the end of the day, I'm disappointed that the play didn't go forward, but there's also many other, you have to look at the bigger picture, right, and just the general suffering that people have, and the fact that you just, at this point, trying to stay alive.
Right. I hope this doesn't stop you from doing other plays.
No, well, it's funny because it has given me time to, I've actually started, sort of noodling away on another play, because as I say, the first one I had, was almost 30 years ago. And then this one came, I sort of got the idea for this one. And I want to make it, before another 30 years are up, I want to have another play. Because then I'll be 93 and I don't know if I'll have it in me.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you want to do?
Yeah, I will tell you that it's about the border situation and sort of people, trying to come up to the U.S. in terms of the situation of the borderline. I will say that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's a comedy.
Yes. Okay.
So that's my go-to.
Right.
You mean the experience of
this play coming together, the work that went into, and then now.
Oh boy, that's a great question. Yeah. What I've learned is that it's really a collaborative. It's just such a collaborative enterprise, is what I've learned. Because I wrote this play, and Theater West, we did like a reading at Theater West, and people were very enthusiastic, and so we decided to mount it as a full-scale production. But I've learned in particular what a really, really good director can bring to a play, because as I mentioned, Charlie Mountain directed it, And he just had a vision for the play that even sort of exceeded my own, and all the various, sort of things that you can use in theater to bring something alive and to make something funnier or more dramatic. That was all very, I've obviously seen a lot of plays, but I haven't been behind the scenes to see plays. And boy, oh boy, I was just kind of blown away actually by, and also by just how, the way the actors interpret, the lines. And maybe I have one way of how they interpret it in mind, and they may do something different. I'm like, oh, that's far better than what I had in mind. So that was very cool. And it was very cool for me to sort of sit in on rehearsals. And, the main thing for me was to try to not get in the way, obviously. And because I know that directors maybe don't love having writers there. But it was great. It was great to see.
We got a picture of your cast. Can you show that, Tony? These are your cast members. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was, and we had, we've got in the play, it has, Nixon and Kissinger are sort of in the play. And the guys that play Nixon and Kissinger, Steve Neville and Michael Van Duzer, they're a hoot. They're fun to watch. So, yeah.
We got a short clip, the rehearsal clip. Can you run that, Tony?
Oh, I didn't even know you had that. Yeah. Wow, that's cool.
Oh, yes. I have seen many penises.
I'm sorry, but well, that now that you know the meaning of don't come in, it shouldn't be a problem, right?
Yes, this is true. Thank you for saving me from all those future penises.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Thank you. We got just a minute or so. Just want to ask you, I know I was in the Navy about 21 years, and when they taught us the 7 P's, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Uh-huh.
How do you plan for your future? What's your future?
Oh, my future? Well, I just hope to sort of keep working in television, and I'll go as long as Hollywood wants me. That's really beyond that. And I'll also just start writing plays. I think I really enjoyed this experience, and I'd like to sort of keep it going if I can.
All we can say to you, Mark Wilding, is God bless you, continued success, and I'll meet you around the block with something in my hand for you.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be super.
Thank you so much. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. The studio of Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art is proud to offer you a $100 discount off of any photo package valued at $200 or more. Now, Harvey's been in the business for nearly a quarter of a century, and he certainly knows how to take care of his customers. So please give him a call today at 818-954-9294. That's 818-954-9294. You'll be glad you did. And by the way, please tell Harvey that you heard about his offer right here on the Actor's Choice. Haiku Style, Passion, Heart. It's the latest release from author and attorney Ron Irwin. The book was inspired by the author's first exposure to haiku well over a half-century ago. Now, this experience produced within him a deep passion to experience Asia, which he later did as a U.S. Marine. The book is available in paperback at lulu.com, and Irwin says he'll give 20% of net book sales split evenly between the veterans of foreign wars and Vietnam veterans of America. Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. It's a new book by author Larry Buford. It's historical and faith-based account of how what we do and follow today will affect us tomorrow. The author also calls it an adventure for those who want to travel back through time. The book is now available in paperback for only $17.95 from Amazon. So please get your copy today. And now, a word from State Farm agent Carla Green.
Let me ask you something. What do you see when you look at your home and your car? Do you see a bundle? A combo deal? That's how other insurance companies see them, but a State Farm agent sees so much more. Because the State Farm agent sees your home and your car as more than just 4 walls and 4 wheels. They see the things you've worked really hard for. So why not give them the protection they deserve? Let me help you with that. Give me a call. State Farm agent Carla Green, 213-239-9675. I look forward to speaking with you.
Thanks, Carla. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. For more information, call 213-239-9675. That's 213-239-9675. Ladies and gentlemen, we here at the Actors Choice are very proud to announce that from now on, you can follow the Actors Choice and others on SoundCloud. That means that if you can't watch the Actors Choice on Mondays, at 11 a.m. Pacific to 2 o'clock Eastern on our Facebook page or YouTube, you can listen to the show right here in your car or when exercising at your leisure. We have a new channel on SoundCloud. Check it out on our website, located at theactorschoicela.org. That's theactorschoicela.org. Thank you. Attention all actors. An Actors Space provides classes and private coaching by veteran actor Rob Brownstein. An Actors Space has Thursday night classes for working actors and Tuesday night foundation and technique classes for early career actors. The idea is to build on each actor's strengths and who you are to help refine and reimagine your acting and career. For more information, contact class at rbrownstein.com. That's class at robbrownstein.com, or give him a call at 323-646-1268. That's 323-646-1268. Thank you. And finally, if you have a product, a service, or an upcoming event that you'd like to see advertised on this program, please call 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. This is the Actors Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Roll it.
We gave our lives for your freedom. And what do we get? Old age. Our children hide us away like dogs.
All right, Ron.
Okay. My next guest is a playwright, director, and an actress. She's been creating and producing theater for the past 11 years. She specializes in acting, directing, playwriting, and solo performances. She has a one-woman show that's been touring. And last but not least, she's one of the vice chairs of the Alliance of the LA Playwrights and a proud member of the Company of Angels Playwrights Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lesley Asistio. Greetings, Lesley, and welcome to the Actors Choice. Great to have you. What made you get into this business? Oh, there she is. Hi. Can you hear me now?
Something happened.
There you go.
Video for a second.
Okay. Again, we want to welcome you to the Actors Choice. Great to have you. I'd like to ask you, what made you get into this business?
Into acting? I got into the business. I was in high school, and my sister was like, "Hey, let's try out for a chorus line." And I had fun being one of the cut dancers, and I just fell in love with being on stage, and that was it. I just continued to study acting. I went to college, did acting school. Then I decided, I wanted to become a professor and stuff. So was in the industry for over a decade, doing acting, directing, solo performance, playwriting, and whatnot. But my best acting role is being a mom. My favorite.
Yeah, who's that little lady? What's her name?
Glory.
Glory. Okay. How you doing, Glory? Nice to see you. Okay. Yeah, look at him. We just showed an intro, a straw before the. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me jump out of that one. I'll save that question for later. I see that you like to direct. Now, is there a woman, and especially plays, to your knowledge, is there a woman director shortage in plays?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think even when the playwright is a woman, they still pick a male director. I don't know why. Or sometimes even the material that are about women, they're male playwrights writing about women, and I'm like, what do you know about women? Yeah.
Oh, so there is a problem. I did not know it.
There's a major disparity.
So how do you think you can solve it?
how can I solve it?
Well,
I don't think I can solve it.
Yes, you can. I believe you and a lot of other people can solve it.
I can't solve it by myself. I think the whole I'd say world would have to solve it together.
Yes.
The thing is, people, whether it's females or people of color, some quote unquote white folk think that the skill is not to that level, so they say, oh, we're gonna pick the most talented, and it always ends up being usually white males, right? Okay. Yes, I know.
Okay.
What?
What kind of plays do you like to do?
Oh, not being nice, my love. Mm-hmm. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? What do you want? What do you want to play with? Huh? Which one do you want to play with? The mirror. That's funny. I think I'm gonna break something. The kind of plays that I like to do, I usually like doing devised theater, getting like a group of people, diverse. Usually, I pick like maybe one of each, like one black girl, one white girl, one yellow girl, one brown girl, and then create a show together. And that is a way of creating work without having to, think about we're not being diverse, we're not catering to different audiences. So I did 2 different plays, specifically my love. Yes. I'm making noise. 2 specific plays. One was called The Virgin Mother Horror Project, and it was different races, white, black, yellow, brown, and it was about ethnic and gender stereotypes. And then I did another show called The Sex Show, and it was about gender and sexuality. So that took different, yes, my love, that took different sexualities and different gender identities. Right. We had one person that was a self-identified two-spirit, like in the Native Americans, they believe that one person could have both male and female attributes. So we did a show. I like doing that kind of stuff where the art comes from the community, from the people that are creating the work together.
Got you. I feel the same way about diversity as you do. I try to diversify this program by getting people of all genders and feelings to come by. Great to have people all over, indeed.
Thank you.
It's refreshing to be around actors who like plays. So I understand you meet on a regular basis. Who are some of the people that come to Hollywood that you know that are coming, say, from all over the world, particularly your homeland, to get into this business? Can you say that again?
I'm not understanding the question.
It's refreshing to be around actors who like to play, like plays. I know I meet on a regular basis a lot of actors and actresses who come here to Hollywood, but they come here for TV and film only. They don't want to get up on the stage. What do you think?
Right. I think before, or maybe even now more so, right? Because we can't do stuff live.
Right.
Lori, no. That there's more money in TV and film. So some people by necessity have to do TV and film because they need to pay the bills. And to get to that stage of popularity or skill that is paid theater work, it's arduous, a lot of training, and then it takes a long time, so some people end up giving up. But I think new works are especially fulfilling if people create their own work or write their own stuff and then produce it themselves, especially fringe festivals. I've been involved with several fringe festivals where you could put up your own show, invite your own audience, and that is the way of doing the work just out of the sheer love of it, rather than trying to pay the bills with it, because usually you end up in debt.
Especially
right?
these days. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Oxnard, California. Yeah.
And your ethnicity?
Filipino ethnic enclave there. What's
Filipino. Oh, okay. I've been to PI several times.
Yes.
Love this country.
Yes. I've only been there, I think, twice.
Yes.
Yeah, you see mommy. I know, I'm in the mirror.
I was in the service, United States Navy. I was stationed at Subic Bay and a few other places.
Oh, you went to Subic Bay?
Oh, yes. Clark Air Base, Manila.
Yeah. That's where a lot of the places that I visited too when I was there. And I think that I remember I was there when I was 7 and 23.
good food. Pancit, lumpia,
Yeah.
all the
So
good
I
food.
was gonna bring you lumpia, but I guess I'm gonna have to like drive by and drop it off or something.
Yes. Gotta have that lumpia. Yes, indeed, indeed. You know, let's see. I saw one of your plays. It was called Nurse Asistio. It was Asistio, Living the Filipino American Dream. What is the Filipino American dream?
The Filipino American dream is very much like the American dream.
Okay.
I'd say a lot in the Filipino community, and I think it is important, to have a stable job. But if you know any Filipinos, usually their parents or somebody has told them you should be a nurse. But I think I was just talking to my director of that show. We're kind of joking because right now, like all the actors are running out of work and they're all going to turn into nurses because that's where the money is. Yeah, so it is important. I have so much respect for the medical community, all the workers, and especially now because there's so much risk. My mom was a dialysis nurse for a very long time, but I feel like just even individualism, right? Being able to pursue your own dream. That's something that's a very American ideal. Not a lot of countries buy into that. If you go to like places that have caste systems where you're kind of born into something and you never get out of it, or even like the Philippines, like they need to put food on the table. And in America, people can be like, I'm gonna be a starving actor, and that's their dream, So there's a lot of generation gap, I believe. But I believe that God created us uniquely, and everybody has specific skills to give to the world. And if we feed into the way that we were created, then that's how we can bless other people.
Indeed. Now, as you know, here in Southern California, this is the second largest population of Filipinos in the world. In the world. So I've been to a lot of Filipinos, the culture, of course, but how about for plays? How many Filipinos are in plays, movies, and things like that?
I haven't been very up to date, but I do know some very talented Filipino actors, directors, playwrights. I haven't watched TV for a really long time, so I don't know what's up there. But I do have friends in the LA area that are very well known and experienced actors, directors, playwrights, and stuff.
Good. Please let me know a few of them. I'd love to have them on the show. With a large number of Filipinos here, that should mean more jobs, more jobs. Is that happening? Are Filipinos getting the jobs?
I don't know. I think from what I've seen, like I know TV and film is getting more diverse.
Yes.
Some more of the not so big like Broadway shows and stuff, like more new works and stuff. There's a lot more diversity, but I think that Filipinos as artists, they should, like claim it for themselves, like, kind of make their own. I mean, especially now with YouTube and all that stuff, you could create your own audience and kind of take advantage of the technology that we have, and you can make your own fame, I guess, I mean, it depends on what you do with the opportunities that are at hand, especially now since there's not a lot of in-person work, then there's a lot of ways that you connect with other people. And I think it's amazing now with this, everything's on Zoom or Google Meets. And like, I was thinking, you could do like a play where people are doing it live, but then you're still broadcasting it to other people. You could be in your own home. Now you don't have to worry about like rehearsals and people like driving there because you don't have any gas problems. Cars breaking down. So there's so much opportunity if we just like, seize the moment and say like, hey, what can we still do? Because even if, this is happening, art still exists, So I think that because we're creative people, we can think of, okay, there's other ways we can do it. My friend sent me a picture that was showing different children from her church that were singing a song, like a chorus song for Palm Sunday. And I was like, wow, that is brilliant. That they're still using the technology, even if we're isolated at home, but still creating a community, a virtual community, and able to still express ourselves. And, whether that's worship or, just art or beauty. So, yeah.
As you're trying to do diversity, there are people who do not like Asians at all, and that's sad. I mean, first of all, your reaction is, at the Academy Awards of this year, South Koreans won the Academy Award for Best Film, and a lot of people at the highest levels had some not so nice things to say, and it really was disgusting. Your opinion?
I think especially now with this COVID thing, and it came from China and stuff. There's a lot more racism and a lot more discrimination toward Asian people. And I think if I go into a store and I like start coughing or sneezing, then people are like, oh my gosh, like it's all her fault. I give me my evil eye. So I think that with this thing that's happening right now, the people that it affects, there's no color lines. It doesn't matter. Like you'll still get it. Even if it originated over there in China, it doesn't discriminate. Everybody, is still getting it. Well, maybe not the little kids. So they're kind of protected and stuff. So yeah.
You belong to the LA Theater Network.
LA Theater Network?
Yes.
Somewhere along the lines, I think it's been a while since I've been, doing a lot of stuff.
Tell us about that organization, because I understand they are very much the top of their agenda is diversity.
Yeah. I think we had a meeting I don't remember, years ago that I went to, and now I don't even know what's up. I've been home with my daughter and just teaching. I teach in Compton, so I'm very adamant about introducing theater, especially live theater, to them, because many of them have never seen a live theater performance. So that's kind of my world right now.
I understand. I understand you give your daughter homeschooling.
I'm sorry?
I understand that you give your daughter homeschooling.
Now, because it's kind of forced on, now they call it crisis schooling. But I actually enjoy having her home. But I'm like, I need to cook, I need to take out the trash, all this stuff. Now it's like, now even because I'm home all the time, there's more trash, there's more food, there's more everything. So
yes,
yeah, trying to balance that out. And I actually have experienced homeschooling a student. She was a special needs student. She was 15, 16, but doing like 5th and 6th grade level work. So I actually, know the whole homeschooling world, and I'm used to it. I feel like a lot of parents are like, what the heck? They're not teachers. They're probably, some other profession. And then when they have to do it themselves, they're like, wow, go teachers. Like this is so hard just with one student as opposed to like a class of 30, 35.
Right. As you know, this coronavirus pandemic is affecting the world of art, of live performances. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
We did not know this was going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that, art is alive. Theater is alive. Then we can find different ways to still do it, if we use that creativity. There's things that, for instance, part of my curriculum for my class is for me to bring in an acting troupe and have them perform so that the students can see, most of them for the first time, a live performance. Yes, my love. And I was going to have them come this semester, but because this happened, we're shut down for the rest of the semester. Yeah. So I said, hey, we can use that idea, that the church did, and, have people reading the play, and the students can watch via Zoom or whatnot, and we can still have that, and they can still experience it. And it's not necessarily like live in person, but real time, right? It's still live, just a different medium. So there are those ways to still be creative. Now, because everybody's home, you can have several actors, several, playwrights, thinking up ideas at the same time, because they don't even have to leave their room. They have no excuse. Like, get out of bed, girl. Come on, give them some ideas. People creating work together, even all around the country, because now we have access to this. Now everybody's learning Zoom. Everybody's learning Google Meet. So there's so much opportunity still. And even after this is done, then things can be both, like a hybrid, right?
We're having a good show right now. You and I are acting. This is Zoom that we're on right now. This is great. Let's see, since you're a teacher, I just want to let you know, I'm a teacher myself. I'm an adjunct teacher at Santa Monica College. I teach broadcasting and whatnot, but we're now closed, but we do teach, as you just said, laptops and online, and got to admit, it's a little different,
right?
But we're making it.
Right.
We're making it.
But I think that creativity also for the curriculum of okay, well, since we can't do this in front of everybody,
right,
we can record yourself doing a script or like a monologue, and then send it to everybody else, and people could give feedback in that way.
Right.
Want to see mommy? Mommy's right there.
Just a couple more questions. One of them is, how does parenting change your perspective on life and art?
Oh man, after my daughter was born, whole perspective shift of like what really matters.
Yes.
You know, I started thinking about my daughter and like, if I do the show, is it really going to matter in the long run? Like people like clap and whatever, or you might make some money, you might not. And I ended up switching over to teaching because I feel like, at least for myself, it was a stronger impact, a more lasting impact. And for myself, with everything that happens with my daughter, it's constantly yes, you want pizza?
Keeps you busy.
I want pizza
Keeps you
too.
busy. How old is she? How old is your daughter?
I think everybody wants pizza. It's a constant reminder of my relationship with God. Yes, no, it's not. And you want to touch the screen? You want to say? Can you high five? High five. High five. There you go. But having my daughter was very. You want the picture? You want this? It was very like a big slap in the face of saying like, you know what, I'm in charge of another soul, and what do I want, you know, to leave as my legacy? So I ended up, you know, and I think life comes in seasons. So maybe down the line I'll go back into acting and directing and playwriting. But at this moment, especially now, even more so since my daughter's home, of really cherishing the moments that I have with her. And believe me, as a parent, there's a lot of acting in there, a lot of creativity. Yes. So I think, you know, I've switched over to thinking, even, you know, I'm not sure if you're a person of faith, but thinking like,
oh yes,
after I'm done,
yes,
what is going to happen, right? So I think you know from my bio that I actually have my own quote unquote one woman show still going on.
How's that doing right now? You on I Haters?
No, so I switched over from doing like theater shows, and now since December 2018, I believe, I went to maybe 22, 23 churches and told my testimony.
Great.
My recovery testimony. So basically, they find the audience for me, which is amazing. So I don't have to work for it myself. And sometimes like over 200 people at the same time, you know. And I have like a slideshow, so it feels like a full performance. You know, I'm still on stage reading my lines and you know, acting it out, or not necessarily like, you know, just emotionally acting it out, or recalling. And for me, that it's been so fulfilling in the sense that it has eternal implications rather than something that, oh, okay, that was a good show, bye. Okay, we're gonna go home and Netflix, like, I don't know, Scrubs or something. Right? So I feel like that and now I feel like, oh, what can I do now? Because I'm stuck at home, I can't go to all these churches. So I actually am trying to take advantage of the technology in creating a slideshow, like a PowerPoint that I could send to people that they could read it, since I can't go there in person. So, you know, I feel like after my daughter was born, that really, really big perspective changes. And even now, it seems like all the things, like, we don't know, is this the end? Like, who knows? Is it the end? Like, I want my life to matter. So what am I going to spend my time on, right? Am I going to, you know, binge watch, I don't even know, TV and CSI like for the rest of my life, or, you know? So I think that having a kid, and even now, because everything's so uncertain, like really cherishing the moment and making the most out of it. You know, I mean, we have a lot of creativity. There's a lot of different ways to continue to do things. We just have to use that creativity to say, how can I do it from home, like with a computer, you know, make use of the technology I have to continue to bless people.
Right. Well, Lesley, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come out today. And Grace, bless that little lady right there. That you guys have a life of living good and enjoying life.
Thank you.
Keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay. Special thanks to our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin's Haiku Style, Passion, Heart, Larry Buford's Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm Agent Carla Green, and Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School, and actor space. And much, much thanks to our guest today, producer, director, writer Mark Wilding, and playwright, producer, actress Lesley Asistio. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing audience. We say be well, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.